Hey everyone, in today's video I'm going to show you how to recover the film and take apart an Agfa photo disposable, single-use camera. I keep saying disposable. So one of the reasons to do this is that if you are sending your film off to a lab, they'll usually charge you a couple bucks extra to take it out of one of these cameras. If you do that yourself, you can save a few dollars. Since I haven't actually used this film yet and I want to use it in a good camera, I'm going to cover up the shutter with a nickel and then tape that on. This is not something you have to do if you've already used up the film. Just get that nice and well secured on there. That's too far. Okay. So the way that these work is the film is unwound. It's over here, and we're going to wind it into this side of the camera. Once we get this apart, I'm going to show you how to reuse them. First thing I've got to do, because I haven't taken any photos, is advance the film all the way into the cassette. Okay, film is advanced. Next we're going to pry up this sticker here. There we go. We're going to pull it back, and we're going to reveal the battery chamber. I'm going to try and get the rest of the sticker. So it's not going to let me. It's okay. There we go. I did kind of jack up the battery cover there, but that's life. So this style of camera gives you a AA battery that you can use in remote controls, your keyboard or mouse or whatever. Not great batteries, but they do last a little while in that setting. And it's definitely better than throwing them away. We're going to lift up the plastic cover to reveal the film chamber and just pop it out. Now I'm going to use this in an actual camera, so I'm going to mark what it is. So the question is, what is this actual film? It doesn't have any information on it other than that it's a color print film, and it has the 6-digit code 115587, which is coincidentally the exact same 6-digit code as the Ilford. So the Agfa and the Ilford color films are the exact same product. The 115587 is a 6-digit code that means Forania Solaris 400. So what I can't tell you for sure yet, because I haven't actually used any of this, is whether this is cold stored Forania Solaris from way, way, way long ago, or if these are just old Forania cassettes that are just now being used for the first time. I don't know. At any rate, it's a C41 color film of some sort. So now, having taken the film out, I'm going to show you how to take this apart and explain how to reuse it, but you can also recover a couple of things from in here if you just want to dismantle it. This is what the flash board looks like, and it's in here in the camera, and it has a little AA holder. It has this 330 volt capacitor right here, which can be harvested fairly easily. If you have used the flash on your camera, I strongly recommend not dismantling it, because these capacitors can give you a very, very nasty little shock. You don't want to do that to yourself. So, and then in addition, we can harvest the lens out of here, and this is the lens assembly. And on the back, it's going to be really hard to see on this video, but you can twist this cover counter or anti-clockwise and harvest the lens element, which, insofar as I can tell, appears to be exactly the same as the lens element that is inside of the Ilford disposable cameras as well. All right, so how do we take this apart? Over here on this side, we're going to pry. On this side, we're going to pry. And these ones that are made with a AA, that use a AA battery, can generally be taken apart like this. And inside, you have a camera that's very similar in some ways to the Corex-made reusable style of film camera. We've got a sprocket counter here, and as this turns, it rearms the shutter and advances the frame counter downward. This is your advance, this is your take-up spool. So let's pretend that you said, I really enjoy using these single-use cameras. I want to keep reusing this camera. How would you do it? You'd grab a roll of whatever film you want, and you'd put it in here. And now all of this, from now on, needs to be done in the pitch black. We're going to grab this spool, we're going to feed the leader into this spool and reload it over here. And then, huge pain in the butt, you can either do that, load it in there, or you can just sit there and do something like this and manually spool it onto. Yeah, this isn't fun. Honestly, not worth it, especially since you've got to do this whole thing in the dark, right? So, but once you have this whole thing spooled onto this spool over here, you just drop everything back into the camera. We're going to pretend that I have film in there. Okay, drop everything back into the camera. We're going to reset this by holding down the shutter release. Nope, it's not going to let me do that. There's a, should have been really easy to reset this, but I guess not. Anyway, just advance the film a couple of times and until you get back to the proper number up here of 36, and then you'll be able to count downward, assuming you're using a 36 exposure roll. And then you just close the back of this up again, which is easier said than done. It's been a while since I did this. There's a trick to it, which I think is to completely disassemble the back. Yeah, that's it. And we're going to drop this on like that. And hopefully you preserved your battery cover, which I did not. We're going to try and get this back in. It is fiddly to reuse these things, by the way. Put in a battery in the battery cover, and you have reloaded this so that you can reuse it. Honestly, kind of a point of diminished returns on doing that. So what do you want to do if you want to disassemble it? These ones that use the AA batteries are made a little bit better than the type that use the AAA batteries. So they have a couple of screws and things in them that we're going to have to undo. But before we have to do that, we just have to uncover the front, just like that. Now this is where things start to get dangerous, because if you've used your flash, you have a charged capacitor over here. So let me emphasize again, I strongly recommend not doing this. I am only disassembling this because I haven't charged up the capacitor and I can trust that there's no energy in it, hopefully. But to get the lens, I'm going to unscrew the lens assembly. There we go. And now we can see here is the shutter, and here's how the shutter works. It's just a very, just a very simple guillotine shutter right there that's operated by a simple spring. If you wanted to keep going, not that, there's a, oh yeah, the capacitor is on top here. You just need to discharge it, which I believe is done quite simply like that. Oops. If you do want to continue disassembling, you just have to discharge the capacitor, which I believe you want to do just like that. Strongly recommend not doing this, by the way. Let me just hammer that home again. We are past the point where you should have stopped disassembling. And then there's a screw for these. Is there? Nope, there it is. And then this assembly just pops right out, and you can access this 330 volt capacitor right in there if you need it for other projects. And then the rest of this camera is good to be dismantled, or pitched. It's already dismantled. And the film can be used in a camera with a higher quality lens.